All right, gang, I got my stuff. I'm ready for the Outer Banks trip. Luka's not coming? Fine.
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade, and you're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you so much for making us your first listener watch to get your Tuesday morning going the right way. Special shout out to all you everydayers who are here with us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, that link's in the show notes by the way, and all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Insiders Program. Welcome, so glad you're all here. Coming up on the show today, Carolina did go on their Outer Banks trip. That's become an annual tradition now over the weekend. Thusly, I'm dressed in all sorts of beach gear because I thought, let's get festive with it, including this octopus that when you bang it on stuff, it like lights up. If you can see it, if you're watching on YouTube. So in place of my baseball today, I got an octopus. We're going to talk about the Jim Tanner contract that was signed last week. People all sorts of up in arms about that bad boy. And yesterday we started previewing different position groups on the football team, starting with quarterback, and now we're going to go behind him to the running back room. So we'll wrap the show with that. All right. Carolina over the weekend went to Outer Banks, and the big news was that it looked like an incredible trip as per usual. Like these are always great moments for the team. The only problem, Luka Bogavac was not there. And this continues to be the single biggest talking point of the offseason. Where's Luka? Isaac, you got updates on Luka. When is he coming? What's the latest? All of that. Well, we've got an update actually from inside Carolina's Sherelle McMillan coming up in a little bit. But I've said so often this offseason that I'm not worried. I truly think Luka eventually does get to Chapel Hill and plays for this team. But, and this is a big but, we have hit a point that I did not think we would hit. And here's what I mean. I said all along, like, man, I wish Luka had been at camp. That would have been great. An opportunity to gel with the guys and do all that stuff. But as long as he's to Carolina, by the time they go on their Outer Banks trip, I'm going to feel good about it, and it'll be great and fine and all that. Well, that trip has come and gone, and still no Luka in town. And that's tough, man, because it's a trip. It's a moment like that where you have such a critical, like you are together. And I know teams are together all the time, but it's just different when you get out of town and it's about pleasure. There's no business, right? We're just here to form bonds and be together. And to miss that hurts because you can't get back. There will be inside jokes. There will have been late night talks. There will have been, what makes you all of these things that happen in a trip like that Luka will not be able to catch up on. It's just the fact of the matter. Now, earlier this summer, Coach Rob said something really wise, like, hey, Isaac, look, this dude has played 4 years of professional basketball already. And he's a professional. And when he does get to Carolina, he'll get himself worked in. He'll be about the business. He understands it. So whenever he does get to campus, it'll be great. And I agree with Coach on that. But again, and Coach would say this too. I'm not saying Coach Rob wouldn't say this, but missing out on this moment, I think is critical, and that hurts. So now the timeline, in my opinion, turns to, okay, look, we just got to get Luka to town by the time class starts or whatever the cutoff date is going to be, because if he misses that now we're talking different things. And then you get into start thinking about like, so wait, is he not going to be available till second semester? And if so, you miss all of non-con play basically, and you can't start till ACC play. Man, hopefully that is not where we're headed, but I mean, who knows? Well, the good news is that Sherelle McMillan has provided an update on Luka. Remember, there are multiple steps along the way of him getting visa stuff and approval, and then ultimately getting to Carolina and then getting approved by the NCAA. There's all these steps. So here's what Sherelle said. I just want to read it to you. Quote, a resolution to the second step in Luka Bogavac's 3-phase matriculation to Chapel Hill could be imminent. Multiple sources confirm. Good grief, Isaac doesn't know how to talk good. Multiple sources confirmed to Inside Carolina that Bogavac is set to have his interview with a consular officer at the American Embassy in Montenegro this week. That's big. What's today? Tuesday. So that's sometime in the next 3, 4, 5 days. If, that's a big word, Bogavac is approved following the interview and provides all the necessary documentation. And here's the other key big part. He can immediately head to North Carolina and join the team. So hear that again. If Bogavac is approved and following the interview, if Bogavac is approved following the interview and provides all the necessary documentation, he can immediately come to North Carolina and join the team. Yes, that's the news we need to hear. But Cheryl goes on to say, but also, quote, approval isn't just a rubber stamp. The third and final hurdle to Bogavac playing at UNC, should his student visa be approved, is clearance from the NCAA. And so, look, if things go well this week, he provides all that documentation. Come on, buddy. Let's get to Chapel Hill and start getting going with these guys. But then that process waits where we're just hoping that the NCAA provides clearance. They've done that for a lot of other players around the nation in a similar situation to Luka. But you know as well as I do how unpredictable the NCAA is, how long they take. You're like, I don't know when this is, and then it just drops suddenly one day, either denied or approved, right? And so that third step is equally as big a bugaboo, a hurdle to get over. And so we'll have to keep our eyes on that and to see, but hopefully eventually everything is good and I don't have to keep using all these good luck charms from the beach, including my daughter's unicorn floaty back there over my left shoulder. Crazy stuff. Now, let me just touch on something from the Outer Banks trip. Carolina posted like a 4-minute video from it. And in case you haven't watched it, and even if you did, what you need to know is that the whole thing was basically Seth Trimble manning the camera, Seth Trimble being the ringleader, Seth Trimble setting the tone, Seth Trimble setting the pace, and doing all these things. And I tell you what, we've talked about it all offseason. Carolina needs the leader they didn't have last year, and Seth Trimble has to be that guy. I love seeing him take charge on stuff like this. Not only being the guy to hold teammates accountable, not only to being the guy to lead the way, but being the guy to lead the fun. There's something about that with leadership, right? Like we so often don't think about leadership and fun and enjoyment together, but there truly is something when you're part of a team, part of a group, part of whatever it is, where when the leader gives you permission to have a good time, that's a different level and type of leadership. And so I love to see Seth being the life of the party in that way, holding the GoPro, doing all that stuff. It was interesting to see Zayden High get in there and really be in the mix. But man, just so good to see to see all 7 feet of big goofy Henri Veesaar out there just doing it up with the guys, right? Like all of that matters and is great to see. So we'll keep tabs on that. So glad the guys have been able to get away and have that trip. But again, pains me that Luka was not there, but it is what it is. So we carry on another basketball segment. Jim Tanner, the general manager for North Carolina, signed the new contract last week, and I tell you what, people are all up in arms about some of these bonuses. And honestly, I don't get why. It makes sense to me. We'll talk about it in just a second. Right after I tell you about 5-Hour Energy, it's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. So whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. Man, I've got a long week this week. We got VBS at my church, so I'm like, I need this 5-Hour Energy big. Now, look, for me, I'm talking about golf here. I'm not much of a golfer, but man, I can play some mean mini golf, and I've hit some crazy shots in my day. But really, golf, for me, and maybe for you, is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. So if you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. So whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. All right, let's talk Jim Tanner contract. Unfortunately, the beach segment's over, so all the fun beach toys had to leave our YouTube video. For those of you listening, you're none the wiser anyway, unless you want to come to YouTube and see how silly I looked in the first segment. So the news came out late last week, that Jim Tanner had signed a new 5-year contract extension. This was written back on June 12th, so like a month and a half-ish ago. And by the way, you can go see this contract for yourself. It's on goheels.com. You can go check it out. But last Wednesday, Jim Tanner signed a 5-year contract. Carolina released the details of that on Friday. The deets, basically, is this is a 5-year contract. It runs through June 30th of 2030. So, fiscal year July 1 to June 30. And so, backdating to July 1, it'll go on for the next 5 years. And with the option of renegotiating after year 3. So at the end of the third year in 2028, June 30th of 2028, the parties can, it uses the phrase in good faith, have conversations about renegotiating the contract or what it might look like. So you got this 5 years, but you got an opportunity 3 years in to really think about it. Again, the base salary for this contract for Jim Tanner is $850,000. And then we get to the part of this that seemingly everyone is getting hung up on, and that is the bonuses. I feel like it was, the way some people described it was inaccurate. If you go read the language of this thing, it's not like, I felt like some people were describing it as a $100,000 bonus if Carolina makes the NCAA tournament, and another $100,000 bonus if Carolina is able to get a commitment from a 4 or 5-star player. And so there's that. Let's first of all debunk that. It's $100,000 if Carolina does either of those two things, but not two separate $100,000. So if Carolina makes the NCAA tournament, or if Carolina lands a 4 or 5-star, then Jim Tanner kicks in that bonus. Obviously, for last year, for example, it would have been both. Caleb Wilson is a 5-star. I think both Derek Dixon and Isaiah Dennis are 4 stars. And Carolina made the NCAA tournament, so all of that would have kicked in. Now, since Jim Tanner helped get all those freshmen that are incoming, he's already achieved, bonus stipulation 2, which kicks in that $100,000, meaning that now he's got a $950,000 base salary for this year. So to me, the issue a lot of people had was that those level of bonuses feel beneath North Carolina. To say you get $100,000 for making the NCAA tournament, to say you get $100,000 for landing a 4-star, that doesn't seem like much. So let's unpack that then. Bonuses triggered by team success happen all the time. And so while I know there's like people getting up in arms like, hey, making the NCAA tournament should be something we do every year. Why is there a bonus kicked in? Well, this happens for coaches, players all over in all sorts of different sports. You get a bonus for making the postseason, and then often more bonuses are triggered by making it deeper into the postseason. That's kind of boilerplate bonus to me, if we're being honest. I'm not concerned about that. Now, the landing a 4-star thing, I could see where you could say that. Like, I feel like if you just took out the 4-star of it and just said make the NCAA tournament and or get a 5-star commitment, I don't think people would be as up in arms with that. Do you agree with me on that? Like, that feels like the main sticking point there. On that part of it, I agree. That feels like, come on, seriously. But Carolina should make the NCAA tournament and should land a 5-star, so it should be a moot point. But here's the other thing. I think, we said the base salary is $850,000 and he gets a $100,000 bonus. If we had just said there's no bonuses, Jim Tanner gets a $950,000 salary every year, no one would have batted an eye, because that's his salary. That's the price of doing business to have a high-level GM to help Carolina set its roster every year. Nobody would have thought anything about it. Literally, the only reason this has been a brouhaha, a to-do, a talking about thing that people are mad about, is because of the bonus nature of it and it's seemingly being below Carolina standards. So if that's a trouble for you, you know what? Hey, here's good news. Let's just pretend like Jim Tanner has a $950,000 salary and we can move on. That's what it is. But interestingly, there are other bonuses that kick in for postseason stuff. If Carolina plays in an NCAA postseason, and it's interesting, it says postseason, that is the language instead of NCAA tournament. I'm interpreting that to mean whether they make the NCAA tournament or the NIT, this one kicks in, a bonus that is equal to 2 months' salary. He would receive, Jim Tanner, the same bonus for reaching the Sweet 16. That's another 2 months. For reaching the Final Four, that's another 2 months. And for winning the national championship, that's another 2 months. And the reason I say another 2 months is because the language is that it's cumulative. So he could receive, Jim Tanner, if Carolina wins the national championship, 8 months worth of his salary again. So basically in 1 year, he would have his full $850,000 salary. Eight months out of 12 is 2/3. So then another 2/3 of that again, plus that $100,000 bonus that kicks in for making the NCAA tournament or landing a 4 or 5-star player. So a lot of bonus opportunity for Jim Tanner. And again, let's think about this in the context of what we're doing here with NIL and other stuff. Like, people all over the world and all sorts of jobs are making bonuses for succeeding at their job. And so if Jim Tanner is going to be putting Carolina in a position to win these things and get these guys, pay him what he's worth. Give him those bonuses. I got no problem with it at all. And if it's not happening, it's not kicking in, so be it. But for me, that's where I'm at with it, is Carolina brought this guy in because Carolina was not surviving at or thriving at Carolina's level standards. And if Jim Tanner can help Carolina get back to that, what is expected of Carolina standard, then there is no amount of money that is like, do what we got to do to get there. And another thing for me, this contract, this 5-year contract, is a sign for me. Yes, it's got some termination language in it, but it's a sign to me to go ahead and sign a 5-year thing that Carolina believes that Jim Tanner did. Like, he succeeded this year setting up the 25-26 team. It's also difficult because he came in not too far ahead of when the portal opened and other things. And so I think similarly to Bill Belichick this year, I don't know that we judge the job Jim Tanner did this year by this year's success. I think we got to look at the next cycle. The only problem is, if this year doesn't go well, I know Jim Tanner's not on the hot seat, but I think Hubert Davis is going to be. And that presents a weird kind of dynamic. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like Jim Tanner, to get a full cycle, is owed at least a year, if not 2 more, to kind of figure all that out. But that doesn't run concurrent with what most people think about the status of Hubert Davis's job. And so that's all things to keep in mind. Again, the goal, let's go win a whole bunch of basketball games this year. And this whole conversation is a moot point. And you're going to say, I don't care how much we paid Jim Tanner. It wasn't enough because Carolina did a ton of stuff. That's where things are at. So interesting stuff there. Let's transition now from basketball to football. Yesterday, we looked at the quarterback room. Today, we're going to look at the running back room. I don't know if you know this, but Omarion Hampton is a Charger now. So Coach Belichick is going to have to find himself a new bell cow or cows. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second. Let's talk running backs. Newsflash, news alert, whatever you want to say. There is no replacing Omarion Hampton. Like, let's just get that out there in front of us all right now. Carolina will be, if they, or if we as people, watching and evaluating and cheering on and all that stuff, think that Carolina is just going to be able to replicate that or duplicate it, then we'll all be sorely disappointed, because they don't make Omarion Hamptons every day. I mean, that dude is just wild with what he's able to do. The mix of speed and power and tackle breaking, it just doesn't come along every day. That said, over the course of the last, 5 or 6 seasons, Carolina has produced 6,000-yard rushers. And so there is that level of expectation where it's like, all right, dudes, we got work to do. And I feel like as we begin to talk about the running back room, in a lot of ways, it's similar to what I said yesterday about the quarterback room, in that I don't think there are wildly, crazily explosive, game-breaking playmakers in the running back room. But I also think there's a lot of solid guys that Carolina can depend on to do some things. I think another part of it, as we think about, like, again, there's no replacing Omarion. He was Carolina's offense last year. All the opposition knew it, and it didn't matter. Part of the thing that I think helps this year is that Carolina's offensive line, right out of the gate, seems to be a strength. We're going to have to wait to see that actually happen against TCU and beyond. But I think Carolina's offensive line is going to help them. And any running back worth his salt, anybody that's worth their salt that spent time with football knows that a running back is only as good as the offensive line can pave a way for him. Sure, some running backs, can find smaller holes and get through it faster. Yeah, I get that. Absolutely. But truly, a good offensive line can really make things, and a bad offensive line can really break things. Like, if an O-line isn't good, it doesn't matter how good Omarion Hampton is. It doesn't matter how good Emmitt Smith is. Like, if the line's not there in place, it just doesn't matter. I believe that Carolina has the type of offensive line that can put them in position for these running backs to be able to do some good things. We've got Natron Means as a running back coach. That's great news. So when we look at the actual names of the guys that are in this room, to me, it all starts with Davion Bullet Goss. I feel like we just got to say Bullet. It's so much fun. Last year, 67 rushes for 326 yards and 4 touchdowns, had 4 receptions for 45 yards. His best game was the second game of the season, actually, against Charlotte. Remember, Omarion Hampton got kind of banged up. It was a thigh bruise in the first half of that game. And Bullet comes in and just does work. Got 16 carries, tallied 105 yards off of that. It was his only double-digit carry game of the season. The thing is that when you've got Omarion Hampton, you don't need to go to Bullet Goss a ton. And even though Barlow came in from USC and he was on the shelf for so much of the season, and even still, Carolina just didn't need Goss all that much, because it's like, you got to run Omarion Hampton 20 to 30 times a game. That's just dumb to not. And so I feel like we got a taste of who Bullet Goss is going to be, but maybe not a full-on, like, here's everything he can do. And so because of that, I feel like we don't fully know what all is in there from Bullet Goss. But with what he did get, he got 4.9 yards per attempt. He had 3.57 yards per carry after contact. He's got that tackle breaking capability. He's not Omarion Hampton in terms of burst, but he's got some of that same kind of stockiness, might not be what I want to say, but just build, maybe frame. And so we need Bullet Goss to do his very best Omarion Hampton impression. Again, I don't think the top end speed is the same. We're not going to see regular 60 and 70 yard runs like we did from Omarion Hampton, but I think there's a lot there from Bullet Goss. A couple of other guys that I want to specifically point out. One is Ben Hall, who comes over from Michigan. This dude to me is I'll call him a belly bruiser. And I don't mean like stomach belly. I mean like Belichick bruiser, Beli bruiser. Think about those great Patriot teams. You never wanted to start a Patriots running back, right? Like that was dangerous because you never knew who it was going to be in a given day. And that's why I think it's important to know all of these guys' names, because who knows who's going to get opportunities. What good grief, what was the guy's name? Called him the law firm, or the Garrett Blunt, man. Remember that season where he just punched them all in from the goal line? Like that was a crazy season. What was that law firm dude's name? Anyway, I feel like that very much could be Ben Hall's role. This dude is listed on the Carolina roster at 235. He is a wear you down back. He is a get stronger as the game goes on kind of back. He's a run between the tackles kind of back. And so you'll see if this O-line is as successful as I think it can be, Ben Hall could do some stuff. Again, similar to Bullet Goss, doesn't have a lot of a track record. And that's going to be a theme as we keep going forward. Number 3 on this list is a guy that has been a starting running back for the North Carolina Tar Heels, albeit back in 2022. And that is, if you know this team, Caleb Hood, of course. And this poor dude, man, I just want the best for him. But every year, he can't stay on the field. He gets hurt all the time. I don't get it, and I hate it for him, man. My heart hurts for Caleb Hood because you know he wants to be on the field. You know he wants to be playing. But, I mean, I think we have to consider a world where if he could stay healthy this year, this could be RB1. Like, legitimately, he's got good running back capability. But the poor dude just has never been able to stay on the field consistently. In his this is year 5 of college football for him. In his 4 years, he's played a grand total of 26 games. That's basically like 2 seasons worth of games, right? Like, and Carolina's played 50 some in that stretch of his career. He's never played more than 7 in an entire season. So again, Caleb Hood, not enough of a track record. If just all these big ifs, if he can stay healthy, could be great. And another guy that is a returner that we got our eyes on last year is Charleston French. I remember he had a nice touchdown run in a game last season. He's more, if Ben Hall from Michigan is the bruiser, Charleston French is a little more shifty McGrifty kind of guy, can slide through, shorter. And so, you've got different types of running backs in this room, and we'll see. And so the issue overall with these 4 guys, and there's 4 other running backs, it's eight running backs listed on the roster. The other 4, by the way, are all freshmen: Demon June, Jalen McGill, Jalen Nichols, and JoJo Troop. And so we'll have to see with each of them. But the unknown with this octet, or the issue is the unknown. None of these dudes has been a bell cow in college. And so the hope is, similar to what I said yesterday about the quarterback's room, you hope that one of them can just pop and go crazy. But if not, I feel like you feel comfortable that you've got at least a solid floor. Is that going to be enough? Yeah, some games, probably. But will it win games that, you need a dynamic play make? I don't know about that. So that's where we got to put it together. And again, none of it adds up to be Omarion Hampton. He's gone. And so Carolina's got to find something new from somebody. And again, hope that the offensive line is what we think it can be. And then just find your hole and take advantage. Get into the second level and go. Keep our eyes on it. There you go. There's the running backs. Great stuff. We're 2 position groups into this thing. Man, it's crazy how fast football is coming. If you guys haven't subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video and audio already, do that right now so you don't miss a second of the show. Find it on all podcast platforms and, of course, YouTube. If you've not joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord family, we would love to have you in there, man. It's a great group of Tar Heel fans hanging out all the time, chatting, all sorts of conversations. It's great, great stuff. If you want to go deeper with the show, one-on-one conversations with me, free access to all of my stats and charts and data and all that great stuff, join the Locked On Tar Heels Insiders, man. We got a great group of people that are part of that. It's a great way to help support and grow the show. We'd love to have you in there. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.